Ubisoft is screwed, guys. They're in trouble. Their shares are falling at a fast rate, and this is already a historical low for them. In over a decade, the stocks are plunging to its lowest, and this is right after Star Wars Outlaws just came out, guys. One of the main games of this year that was supposed to carry them. Star Wars Outlaws, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and they're falling short of expectations. We saw the rumor from Stuttering Craig the other day that physical copies of these games are actually much lower than what they expected. I believe it was 55% for Star Wars Outlaws, and that pre-orders were not even like one to each location at a big box chain. There's a lot of uncertainty going around, but one thing that's for certain is that Ubisoft has lost its way. They're hiring woke employees that are more focused on agendas, spreading ideologies. You have community managers, developers, you name it. That whole company is infected. And they're focusing on the wrong thing, which is making good games, fun games that people can entertain themselves with instead of being indoctrinated with. Let's look at this article. I have this pulled up from Video Games Chronicle. It's talking about how these shares are plunging because a minority investor urged them to go private. They're like, please, please, please go private. And again, this is right off the heels of a Star Wars Outlaws launch and right before Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is supposed to be like their biggest game coming out. Now, XDefiant was also there. This mentions XDefiant. That was a game that was supposed to be like their live service, free-to-play Call of Duty game that carried them this year as well with microtransactions. But it's all failing. And looking at this article, you can see they're saying the shares plunged again. And it just plunged the other day. Like literally like the launch day of Star Wars Outlaws. A minority investor said they need to take the company private or let it be sold to a strategic investor. So the investors are losing faith, guys. And it's ridiculous. I know the wokies are trying to spin it like it's the gaming industry as a whole that has a problem. It's the gaming industry that is suffering. But no, this is a Ubisoft problem here, guys. This is 110% Ubisoft. We've seen the stupid stuff they've been pulling lately, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's look. It says the publisher's share price fell almost 10% during trading today. Holy guacamole. Before closing down 7.13% at 13.67 euros, right? It's fallen by more than 50% over the last 12 months and now sits close to a 10-year low. That's not acceptable. All right? That's not acceptable. A big corporation is not going to deal with that. Investors are not going to deal with that. This company is in trouble. If Assassin's Creed Shadows fails and this stock price drops even more, I guarantee you it will be sold off. It will be sold off. And hopefully whoever takes up the mantle will restructure everything, fire all the idiot employees that are banning people on subreddits and Discord communities, and the ones that are writing hateful things on Twitter about male gamers, white male gamers, I should add, straight white male gamers, I should add. It says the company's share price had already declined significantly earlier this month, reportedly driven by a combination of a poorer-than-expected launch for Star Wars Outlaws and a sharp decline in interest in free-to-play shooter XDefiant. Like I mentioned, XDefiant was a game they were relying on, but Outlaws, you have the fucking Star Wars franchise, and you completely blow it. You have Star Wars, guys, and I know it's been going through hell since Disney's bought it, but you can't fuck up an open-world Star Wars game. Instead, they had a lead writer that had it in her head that she couldn't relate to Han Solo, even though she wanted to be Han Solo growing up as a little girl. She couldn't relate to him because he's a man. So she went out of her way to write what is basically a female Han Solo in her game, K-Vess, just so she could make it woke. Oh, Eric, a female protagonist is not... No, absolutely it is. When she said that she couldn't relate to Han Solo, she went out of her way to write this game, and then when you play the game itself, there's so much LGBTQ bullshit in it. Every single female has a butch, buzz cut, lesbian-style haircut. Not to mention, they literally force themselves in certain cutscenes of side missions where, I'm a lesbian, and here's my partner, and we have a son together. They have all sorts of weird, woke bullshit undertones in this game, guys. Instead of making it Star Wars, instead of making it an adventure in the universe, in the space galaxy far, far away, it's bullshit. Nobody wants to have this stuff stuffed into their fucking throat. All right. Oh, the casual gamers don't care. It's only you right-wing. No, the casual gamers do care. That's why we're tuning out. This modern audience that you guys are catering to aren't coming out. That's why Concord failed. That's why Dustborn's failing. That's why Star Wars Outlaws fallen short of expectations. We're giving up. We are giving up on companies that are catering to a agenda. Now, it says on Monday, hedge fund AJ Investments published an open letter calling for strategic and structural changes at Ubisoft, and it urged the board to consider taking the company private, implement a comprehensive cost reduction program, and optimize staffing levels to be more comparable with industry leaders, increase its focus on core IPs, and consider replacing current CEO. Yeah, I think they need to get rid of him. And that other executive that said we should be comfortable not owning our video games needs to go too. Now, here's the actual open letter. And this is all public, so you could find this on most of the articles that are writing about it. They're literally begging. They're saying this is an urgent call for strategic and structural changes. Like, this is bad. Imagine being this company that's literally relying on Star Wars, Assassin's Creed to get them by for the year. And you have investors, literal investors, begging you to please do something. This is the beginning of the end for this company, guys. I've lost faith in this whole Ubisoft venture, especially when they started again spouting stuff like we should be comfortable not owning our video games. When you see them pricing games like Star Wars Outlaws at $130 for the deluxe super edition, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Then you see all the nonsense with Yasuke and them trying to cover up that and fabricate and lie about Thomas Lockley. Things are not going good. Now, this says AJ Investments holds less than 1% in Ubisoft, according to the Wall Street Journal. So they're a very minor investor. But if a minor investor is thinking this bad about Ubisoft at this point, you got to wonder, what are the bigwigs thinking? What about the major investors, the people that have the most money involved in this? Are they panicking? I have no idea. So this is a mess. You can see that it says the creative director of Star Wars Outlaws has said he's a little disappointed with review scores for the game, and that developer Ubisoft Massive is committed to improving the title with post-release updates. So they're hoping, the, I guess, expansions and DLC and updates are going to make everything better, but you only get one shot to make a first impression. If your fucking launch fails, the game gets tainted, guys. Look at Dustborn. That game's never going to recover. Now, they said Ubisoft today began rewarding XDefiant players with free virtual currency for logging into the game, seemingly in a bid to boost engagement as the title's first season of live content draws to a close. So XDefiant, which was supposed to be the competitor to Call of Duty, and it just fell flat. I tried to play it a little bit when it first initially came out, and I was just like, yeah, it just has this generic Ubisoft feel to it. Like, a lot of these games have that generic Ubisoft feel. Even Star Wars Outlaws, to an extent, literally feels like a mishmash of a whole bunch of Ubisoft games put together in Frankenstein with a Star Wars coating on top of it. And this ain't cutting it. I mean, Ubisoft is literally at a decade-old low with the shares. They got to be panicking. I think they're going to get. I think they're going to get sold. I think they are going to get sold. So, I have no clue what's going to go on here. But Ubisoft dropping minor investors, pressuring them to go private. This can't be good for them. This cannot be good for them at all. I'm going to take a look at Ubisoft's stocks. Let's go to Yahoo Finance. Yep, here we go. 1367. Dropping. Let's go the last 5 years. Let's look at the last 5 years as far as losses go. It says 81% loss. It's gone down 81%. It's saying volume not available. It's not even showing the graph right now. This can't be right. Let's refresh it. Loading the chart. Here we go. Look at that. Look at that. So, in 2021, when they had Valhalla killing it, Watch Dogs Legions, I mean, it's dropped from 2021 at its peak almost $85, 85.18, and now it's all the way down to 13. Yikes, guys. That's a huge, huge drop. And a lot of it is attributed to DEI and wokeness. I know everybody tries to say that grifters try to blame that on diversity and that that's not the real reason. It absolutely is the real reason. It absolutely is. If you don't think it is, you're turning a blind eye because you don't want to know that your woke narrative is wrong. This can't be good, guys. This is a company that's literally bleeding and they have no way to come back. So, anyways, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'll see you on the next one. Subscribe if you're brand new, and I'll take care.